with this guy who's like pseudoscience. He's literally like the sun tanning your ass type guy.
Oh,
dude, like I had a photo of it. His advice to the guy was literally like, plug your nostril that you can breathe through and then meditate. And I was like, clearly this advice isn't working. I mean, hey guys, I guess we're kind of coming in mid-conversation.
Yeah.
Rule 0, we're talking blue pill casualties. Obviously, what spurned this is the guy Byron. You guys watched him now. Very famous Twitch streamer. Pretty cool guy. So blue-pilled, it's not even funny. Eventually did the unthinkable, took his own life. And then a new thing, I guess the female Twitch thoughts are out there trying to milk this for attention on their own.
Of course.
So we thought, what a great opportunity to talk about this.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever talked about. I shouldn't say that. I've actually done shows where I've had guys like call in or call in and chat in about like how the red pill or whatever, my work or your guys' work, whoever, just being in this sphere, like how it has saved their lives or saved lives of the guys that they've known. And I don't think we really pay enough attention to that, because a lot of people think that when we're doing this show or we're like individually doing our shows, that like just because we tag the word red pill to it or whatever, that it must mean that we're like PUAs or we're incels or we're whatever. And I keep struggling with a new term to apply, because I don't think that old terms apply anymore. But it's, I have guys hit me up. I've had guys hit me up at certain conventions telling me that they became familiar with my work because of like a psychologist or somebody that they were working with or talking to. And I thought that was, I had no idea that when I was writing the book that it would be that impactful. But I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that the reason I got into this was because of actually 2 suicides that were very personal to me, that sort of turned me around and made me want to actually start writing what I do.
Oh, that's right. And actually, Rich, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, because I know you probably don't know much about this guy. He was like a World of Warcraft streamer, and then he since moved on to other things. So here's the part that I think is interesting that you'll probably like. He was essentially a millionaire. He built himself his little empire. He had it. At one point, there was a tweet he had out where you could tell it was like his cry for attention. I think it was 3 months prior, where he bought another 3-bedroom condo right beside his place in Austin because he wanted friends to come move in. Like, this guy made his fortune. He built his empire, but then he still wasn't able to like fit that last piece in the puzzle. And that was the mental health, which ultimately strangled him here. And I'm just curious, since you're the entrepreneur guy, how did you get past that point where there's no crippling issues that ruin your success? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, when you're fully become the game and you're red pilled, it's like a superpower. I've said that before, but most of these guys success, like money just amplifies who you are, right? If you're a nice plugged in blue pilled beta and you've got lots of friends and stuff like that, and you want to accommodate them, yeah, sure, of course you're going to buy the next condo suite next door. I saw some of the tweets that he put out. Like, I saw some of the back and forths before he, took those permanent steps to his little temporary problem with that girl. And a lot of people were avoiding the reality that he did it because of the girl, right? A lot of people said in the comments, like, I put out the article that summarized most of the points, although most of it avoided the fact that it was because of a girl. And most of the guys that chimed in that were his supporters downplayed it and said, oh, it's because he was bullied, or he had mental health issues, or he was bipolar, or he was depressed. That's why he did it. It had nothing to do with the girl. But it's not the girl that caused it. It's his wrecked belief system that subscribed to comforting lies that caused it. So
yeah, that's right. It was like the 6 months he hadn't seen her, so his like final ditch effort was to throw out a wedding proposal, and then he didn't even wait for an answer. Yeah, super tragic.
Yeah, and then it's too bad, because stuff like that can really be avoided. And when guys go looking for help, for the most part, they find dorks out there that are like telling you to sun your butthole and close one nostril, like you were mentioning earlier. It's like their advice to the meditation of getting rid of your depression or whatever it is that's holding you back. It's just, it's a shame that they don't deal with the root cause of it all.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Well, here's Troy, your thoughts. Quick thing here though, Ricky 985, thanks for the super chat. Locktar Ogar, the WoW community is super blue pill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's anything, isn't it? Like nowadays, guys really like I didn't know this guy was 30, 31 or something like that. He's not much younger than me. And the giant divide between his sociability and mine, it's like it blows my mind how quickly things kind of went to hell. And Troy, you're in the field. Like, are you noticing like a change in how guys, like how quickly they pick up game, how quickly they're able to integrate into social circles? Like you're empathy socialite kind of guy here. What is your take on this?
Well, I think it still takes guys a long time, to be honest, because I think what we might call blue pill conditioning is so endemic out there, and I think that I don't believe that even after all of this time, even after all of this, material has been published online and the Rational Mail and all the blogs and the videos and everything else, I think that the number of people that's affected is still a very small proportion of society. And so I think sadly, many guys are still in this kind of blue pill mindset that Rich mentioned. And as a result of that, when something like this happens, when a relationship comes to an end or when things don't turn out as they feel like it should, then sometimes guys are compelled to take this very permanent action because, their whole world is shattered. The way that everything is supposed to be is completely torn apart. And we can educate people one at a time, and within our communities and within the audiences we've got. But I think there's still a way to go before it becomes universally accepted, for sure.
Yeah,
I just want to add to that point that I made to you guys. Like a lot of the people that were commenting that no, it was because he was depressed, or no, it was because he was bipolar, or no, it was because he was bullied. These are people that follow me, right? So they know what I talk about. They should have some insight, but they still revert back to that inner beta bitch of themselves that they want to associate with, because it's so much more comfortable than accepting, no, he had some inner beliefs that didn't serve him. Dude was super successful. Apparently he was one of the most successful streamers out there. There's lots of dorks on World of Warcraft. I played it, back in the day too. Like I was one of those dorks that went in for the raids and got together with all your buddies and your guild and did all that dumb shit. Doesn't matter. I mean, it's no excuse. It's got very, very little to do with, depression or whatever it is that they think it was, like bullying. Like give me a break. Like we all get bullied. Like we all get picked on online. If you're going to put yourself out there and broadcast or project a presence, there's always going to be some like keyboard warrior that doesn't show their face, that thinks that they're like a tough guy, right? It's just part of life. You just have to deal with it. It's part of being a man. It's part of the competency skills required to do well in the world as a man, is what I'm saying here.
100%. Quick shout out, JR Silva, thanks, $5 super chat. Stumbled on Rolo's channel, and then the rest of you guys saved my life. No joke. Yeah, dude, it's not a joke. Like, thank you very much for the kind words, but you fixed yourself, so we can't take credit. We just helped. Right. And then Rolo, I see you got something here we're going to show. And then John, I guess we'll give a quick shout out to John first. Hey, John, welcome. Enjoy your generic white dog.
Where are you at, man?
I'm on vacation, baby. I'm on Osaka, in the music city of Japan.
There you go. The Nashville of Japan.
You know it.
All right, so this is Reckful. I guess his name is Byron. I'm not really sure what his full name is. So here's the things that happen, I think, with guys who are blue pill, and this is just, I think one of the things that people get frustrated with when when particularly a guy kills himself or commits suicide, and it's quote unquote over a girl. You will see how. Well, first of all, you'll see how blue pill guys kind of scramble to sort of say, well, it wasn't her fault. He was, there was something wrong with him. He was depressed. They'll try to find every reason in the book why it wasn't her fault.
Yeah, it's all the ego investments, right?
And the same thing that happens with remember when Anthony Bourdain killed himself? Now that was a high profile suicide. And of course, what had happened was literally I think 4 days or 5 days prior to him hanging himself, you have Asia Argento, who has pictures of her with some, boy toy of hers traipsing around Italy or something. And it made the tabloids or whatever, it made the online tabloids. And was it Asia Argento that killed Anthony Bourdain? No, it was not. But what she had done, or her actions, were the catalyst that triggered his sort of blue pill despondency. And so, like, this guy right here is talking about how he hadn't seen her, and like he asked her to marry him, and she probably got freaked out. She probably, at some point, I think that a lot of guys who subscribe to like blue pill ideals, let's say, they think that they're doing things right. They think that they're going about it in the romantic way, right? Oh, will you marry me? Like they want to get down on one knee, and particularly if they're and I'm going to sound really kind of stereotypical here, but particularly if they're gamer guys, like Rich was saying, that kind of subculture is very, very blue pill, and it's very, very chivalrous, right? It's very, very white knighty. And so either you've got the guys who are there kind of like, there to like shoot each other and like, Call of Duty, or else you've got like the guys who are just sort of there and hoping that at some point they're going to meet somebody online as a result of them being there. And this isn't just like the video game, subculture. I've written a couple of essays about gamer culture. One of them is called Gamer Girls, and how the sexual marketplace doesn't change in those subcultures. It's just contextually a little bit different. So you still got the alphas, you still got the guys that are more attractive by order of degree within that subculture. But in that subculture, you're still got the guys who think that the best way to go about life is to just like find out what she wants and be as chivalrous as possible and be as romantic as possible, and really sort of live out that blue pill ideal. And then when it blows up in their face, they're not prepared to handle it. So, and everybody in that subculture, the reason why they come to the woman's defense is because they're coming to their own defense. Because they realize that they're in that same kind of mindset, that same kind of blue pill mindset. So it wasn't her fault. It wasn't his, the way he approached it, his declarations of love and his proposing marriage and everything. That should still work according to this blue pill ideal. But the thing is like, here's the guy is dead. He killed himself. So there has to be some other way or some other reason why. And that's why everybody either leans, like when something like this happens, it's usually because the guy had some sort of mental disorder, or he was on Xanax. That was the first thing they said about Anthony Bourdain. He was on some kind of like antidepressant, or he was on some kind of like sleeping medicine. Like he was on Lumina or Luminescent.
Like he got struck by lightning, basically.
Exactly.
Something nobody could have seen.
Anything but the most obvious thing that triggered the guy. He had a blue pill mindset, and everybody says, "Well, he made a lot of money." Like this guy right here, Byron, whatever his name is. He had money. He had himself set up, but that blue pill mindset will kill you. Literally, will kill you. And as soon as something doesn't work out the way you want it to, people are like dumbfounded. Like, how? Anthony Bourdain was alpha, man. He had all this stuff. He was insanely popular. He had fame. He had a great show. Yada yada yada. How? And they were just dumbfounded. How could a guy like that hang himself?
How could we have known? Well, here's the thing I wanted to bring to John, because I think this is right up your alley, Johnny. First thing I saw, this was out like 15 minutes afterwards. This article by Heavy. You see this? Man commits suicide. Girl most affected.
Yeah.
And you see that new one this morning where it was, what's the Twitch streamer? Alina or whatever?
Alinity.
So yeah, if you guys don't know, she made this giant crying stream about how this is going to be her someday. She basically turned away to make his death all about her. And I thought, John, this seems like the exact thing you talk about. Before you do, quickly though, Cristino Mazzio, thank you, $3 super chat. Had my first night lay because of red pill. Again, you did that, not us, but thank you. Anything we could have done to help.
You use the tool.
Yeah, Caffeine God. He had a ton of fake friends. Like, dude, they're called acquaintances. Everybody has them, though. That's not like, I get what you're saying. He didn't have real friends, but like a lot of people don't.
That's not a unique problem for him, though, is it?
Yeah. So Johnny, the alinity and like the girl making it all about them, and that's kind of being the narrative now. What's your take on that one?
Well, I, for one, hate Twitch. I'm the only one here who streams on Twitch. And the Twitch community is really toxic, right? And the thing is, they're never going to accept responsibility for making this, because the backbone of Twitch's business model is simping, right? Sending money to e-girls and pedestalizing these girls that are literally, I've met a bunch of them in real life. Like the hottest one is probably a 7 out of 10. And, you know, you create this whole culture of pedestalizing women, and you create this whole culture that is heavily based upon female validation, right? And the terms of services of Twitch actually back this up as well. So when you have this entire ecosystem that is blue-pilled, you have to realize, first of all, they're not blue-pilled because of some moralistic nonsense. They're blue-pilled because it's financially lucrative. But what you're going to see here is a complete shift of the blame from their blue-pilled nature to just say like, oh, we need to focus on mental health and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, that girl, her teeth are yellow like corn. That girl is like a 6 out of 10 max. If I'm going to kill myself over a woman, it's going to be Scarlett Johansson when she was 23. not this chick, but I'm not killing myself over nobody. I got my soulmate with me right here. But
they're counterangling this channel.
Does anyone know the detail though? Because they hadn't seen each other for 6 months apparently. Does anyone know what happened in between?
No, but it doesn't matter.
I'm looking at the tweets right now, and it said, like, he says this one. He says, "Do not make her feel pressured to say yes," because I guess like he had asked her online or very public online to marry. And then he says, "I have not seen her in 6 months. The reason for this post is I know she's the one I want forever, and I wanted her to."
There it is.
Commitment is real.
Yeah, and there's no scenario where that's a healthy thing.
Don't let it go. Like,
and let me tell you guys something about Twitch real quick. Let me
straight out of romance novels. Go ahead.
Let me tell you guys something about Twitch real quick. Okay, Twitch is run by a bunch of simps. Okay, I was on. No, I'm not. This is not like me. Like,
don't hold back, John.
This is not me trying to be funny. This is real. Like if you look at these moderators, like they're fat, they're neckbeards, they're covered in pimples, they are beta males to the max. I had one of these moderators like shit talk me, and he's like, "Oh, he's wearing a Versace hat because he's bald." Even if I was bald, right? It doesn't matter that I'm wearing a $500 Versace hat and you're hating on me. But the thing is, when guys like me go onto Twitch and we have game and we don't pedestalize these women, these moderators, they know about it and they get upset. I was on the #1 Twitch show, which was the Raj Royale podcast, 23,000 live viewers, right?
Oh yeah, when they booted you.
I got banned because they said my Instagram was transphobic, even though Instagram has personally reviewed my my profile and determined that it is not violating their terms of services, right? So they're very, very biased towards women. Talking about alinity, okay? Here's the deal. There are guys on Twitch that get banned for showing too much skin, right? Alinity was doing some kind of game, and she was trying to stuff something under her shirt, and she pulled her shirt out, and her entire left breast came out.
Look at her pulling a Janet Jackson and everything.
And if you do that as a man, there was a man whose left nipple slipped it out, and he got permanently banned from the platform. Alinity, her entire breast came out. She did not get banned. She did not get a temporary ban. She didn't get perma-banned. Okay? I think they may have given her a small ban, like a 24-hour ban. There's another girl, okay, Rich's favorite streamer, the girl who does the sleep stream, okay? Amaranth. She sleeps, and 3,000 people watch her. She showed her vagina on stream by accident. She was wearing shorts, and her vagina came out.
Dude, have you guys ever known a girl to accidentally show off the cooter? Like, come on. Never in the history of ever has it ever accidentally come out.
Was she asleep and it just kind of rolled out or something?
Even when they're sleeping, they know. There's like a part of the brain they have.
She was wide awake. She was just streaming, and she happened to be wearing no underwear. And she got, I think, like a very short ban. But that's perma-ban grounds. That's like the equivalent of us dropping the N-bomb on this stream. You know what I mean? That's like literally, it's the equivalent. And so they didn't ban her because it's financially lucrative for them to keep these girls on the stream because these men are pathetic and they're just paying money. So there's
I guess you can't argue that because Mixer just went down and they had like a hardcore like gab rule, like no porn on our streams. And they were like, all right, we're selling it to Facebook.
the difference between Mixer and Twitch is just Twitch got to the party first. With Silicon Valley, once you get to the party first, you pretty much have a monopoly, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is that they're extremely biased towards protecting women under the guise of these blue pill things, but it's just because it's more financially lucrative. But guys like this killing themselves, these are the repercussions of creating such a blue pill like ecosystem. And the blue pill is only there because it's financially lucrative. That's
dude, that's like an article I wrote is to ask your doctor if Thotrazone is right for you. Making the point that, yeah, there's the way that we've set up and the way we've made all these choices about thottery being good in that, there's going to be casualties. And it's kind of exactly it.
Right.
Quick shout out too, before I let you guys go off here. Aaron Caprio, loving the Bulletproof Coffee, Rolo. That's awesome. Thanks for the super chat.
I wish I had an affiliate link for you.
Parker Silver, too much cringe. And yet, to be fair, this is all really cringy. Like I can already see like Rich just drifting off, daydreaming about cards right now.
And that's the thing. Look, things are not listen. Just so you guys watching, just so you know, this is not the first. This is not the last suicide we'll see. We're gonna see more, and they're gonna keep on coming. And Twitch, listen, because this is how dark and evil these corporations are. They don't care about anything but the bottom line.
People don't know that though. Like Rich, when did you get the idea that companies weren't benevolent people?
Rich is not like the average person. He's a multi-millionaire.
But that's just it. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. How do you get to these guys before they go and do something dumb?
Right.
That's the question that I'd like to ask is how do you get to the Rex? How do you get to the next guy that's going to put a noose around his neck or a muzzle in his mouth? How do you get to those guys that have like literally this guy Reck, if he's the #1 Twitch streamer and he's buying all kinds of real estate and he's got bucks deluxe, you could spend, I don't know, a day with the guy and you should be able to fix him, right? How do you get to guys like that is what I want to know.
I think it's sycophants. He wants that love so much. He just wants people that tell him what he wants to hear, but then it's not enough. Like it's not good. Like, he has a shrink talk to him for like 2 hours. And when I say shrink, I use the term loosely because he's literally talking about like new age Eastern evidence-based psychology. I'm like, isn't it supposed to be evidence-based? Like, why do you have to claim that?
But isn't the answer is to be putting out content and trying to educate people, isn't it?
I mean, obviously,
which is what we do, which is what we're doing here. But obviously, and I think that guys on this panel, I mean, John has worked towards this. Rollo's talked about this a lot. Is widening the net beyond just a small like circle of like manosphere sites, YouTube channels, and going out beyond that, you know, going on to different platforms.
As long as it's financially lucrative, this is going to happen, and society is not going to give a good goddamn. They're not going to give a shit. They're going to be like a hashtag we love Byron, but at the end of the day, he's still fucking dead from a simp mindset.
Hashtag mental illness. Hashtag, let's have a talk. Bell Canada is the biggest telecommunication company in Canada. And every year they run this Let's Talk campaign to deal with mental illness. And all they're doing is they're riding off Let's Talk month, and then it's Pride month, then it's Transgender month. And it's like, let's continue to embrace all these simping belief systems. And nobody's standing up and said, let's have a masculinity month, or let's have a red pill month, for crying out loud.
There's no money in it, guys. Don't spend money.
Yeah.
Quick shout, thanks to Ricky. Didn't she make a banner for violating TOS? She kind of requested it, but it's kind of off the point. Like, it doesn't really matter. Last thing I want to do is make this show about her, because God knows she'd love that. Chris, $50 super chat. Thank you very much. I thank you guys for sharing a light on men's issues, even though you get crap for it. I know I will try to shine a light on things. Keep on doing the work. Guys' lives matter. The hashtag, that'll sort it out.
Guys' lives matter, right?
Yeah.
You're going to hit him with the Phoenix down with that, Helen.
Hey, I want to hit on this really quick, because this is a really common response I get from. It's almost the most predictable response that I get, and this is from a tweet that this guy is talking about, because it's in the same thread as this guy's tweets, and people are trying to psychoanalyze him, off of Twitter. Now he's like, you effing morons, try to understand why, or trying to understand why he committed suicide based off of a few tweets. You have no effing idea who he was as a person, or what he was like. Narcissistic thinking that if you read Rollo's book, he wouldn't have killed, or he wouldn't have necked. Right? He says, "Go up, go F yourself." Right?
Oh, dude, that's the irreducible complexity argument all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the other thing. That's the first thing people threw at me when I started saying all of the signs are there. All of the patterns are there for Anthony Bourdain's suicide. And you know what? Guess what? Here we are a year later. Everything I said about Anthony Bourdain during that time was 100% true. Everything that led up to that. And you know what? Because there's patterns to this. I've seen these patterns for almost 18 years, at least 18 years now. And this guy follows exactly those same patterns. And the reason why people want to say, well, you didn't know him. You didn't sit down and have coffee with him. You didn't know what
no,
he
but
was
you knew the 500 guys that do exactly what he did.
Right, exactly. And it's like, I've been doing this long enough to see those patterns. And yes, from his tweets, I can sit down with a guy and just chat or through an email. And you look at the words that the guy's using. Like, I think she's the one. When I hear that, I know what the mentality is. When he says, "Oh, I want to hang myself because she's my soulmate, and if I can't have her, then I don't want to live." Right? Yeah. You know why I know that? Because I've seen dudes do that, and they've ended up in bathroom stalls with a noose around their necks, right? Or they took a lot of pills, or they swallowed a bullet. Yeah, I've seen that happen. Okay, I've seen it often enough that I can see the signs, I can see the patterns. I got to the point where I can see that. So am I going to say, well, do I know the guy? No, of course I don't know the guy, but I do see the patterns, and he fits that pattern.
Dude, Married Red Pill is the same thing. There's only ever like 6 different types of guys in horrible marriages. And once you've seen one, you've seen them all. We may get some details right, but the broad strokes, the part the audience needs to take away from this is pretty bang on. Here's one. Who wants to take this question? How much further ahead do men and women need to get before they believe they're equal?
Men and women will never
Wrong
be.
question.
Yeah. That's what I was figuring.
Men and women will never be equal. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life, because men are men and women are women. And the fact that anytime you hear somebody, look, all this women's empowerment, all this bullshit, because that's what it is. All it is based upon 2 things: profit and votes. That's it. If you look at any fucking issue, go down, do the how can I say, like, look towards the root of it, and it's either to make money or to get votes. That's it, period. It's either a politician or a company pushing it.
Well, it's a power grab. You nag guys, tap into their innate need to protect women to get free stuff, essentially.
Well, it's based on a faulty premise. There's no such thing as equality. Equality of what? Like, what is the challenge that we're supposed to be equal to?
Whatever she says right then and there.
Here, bro, I'll tell you this. Every girl wants this.
Yeah.
This is what every girl wants, right? In their delusional mind, they want a guy that's 6 foot tall, six-pack abs, and
six-figure bank account.
Six-figure bank account. While she's the CEO, she's also making $1 million. But the husband at home pays for everything. He does the fucking laundry. He does the dishes. He does all of that stuff. It gives her an orgasm every time they have sex. And she's also allowed to cheat on him, but he doesn't really know about that. And she also has kids. She doesn't get stretch marks. All her kids go to Harvard, Columbia, Yale. This is the delusion of the average American chick. They want everything, but they don't want to do any work. And it's hilarious when I see them, 27 years old, $50,000 in debt, with a gender studies degree, putting extra whipped cream on my Starbucks coffee. It's fantastic.
Dude, that sounds like those sexless dudes who talk about they don't want to settle for anything other than a 9. When you're like, dude, you would need anything. It's like that Max Cope stuff.
Well, equality is the premise of equality is, well, first of all, it's a social convention is what it is. It's meant to keep you like on the treadmill is what it's meant to do. Because as long as human beings are tribal, and they're always going to be tribal, that if that tribe is based on a victimology of some sorts, equality is always going to sell. Equality of opportunity, equality of outcome, equality of this, blah, 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 because we don't live in an equal world. So if the challenge is for Rollo Tomasi to give birth to a child, well, that's horrible. I'm oppressed because I can't do that. Right? It's physically impossible for me to do that. So if that's the case, if that's the challenge, like, what are we talking about? Like social equality. Great. What does that mean? What a gender equality. What does that mean? And it
give it to me. It's mine. Give me it.
It doesn't exist. And so as long as you're like chasing after this nebulous, that's why I call it equalism. Because it's a belief set. It's an ideology that keeps you on the treadmill, and it keeps the carrot in front of the cart. So
here's a question. Who here is most familiar with this 5 love languages? Is it a blue pill construct?
John likes it. John likes it, I think. But people always ask about this damn book. I mean, I don't think it's promoted as a cure-all for dating and LTRs.
Except men are from Mars, women from Venus.
It's a good book. It's a good book. You guys got to read it. You guys listen. That book. Listen, if you want to be a seducer, okay, that book is an awesome book to put in your arsenal. Period.
Now, are we talking like astrology is good to know level game, or is it like rational male is good to know for game?
Dude,
Like,
astrology is also good to know because it's
that's what I'm asking.
Astrology is good to know.
You can
Astrology
talk
is good to know.
about it, or is
You
it
know,
good?
you know how many
because-
girls I make fun of just because like, oh my god, are you a Scorpio? Like we would never get along. They're like, oh my god, what sign
It's
are
called-
you?
It's called the Mean Girls method. Oh my god. are you Leo in ascendance? Oh my god.
I tell them all the time. I say I'm a Sagittarius, so I have a lot of time. Like I have a lot of trouble settling down. So you're gonna have a lot of trouble trying to lock me down. And what does that make them want to do?
Sagittarius and half horse and leave it at that.
So John, seriously, is five love languages then? Because I might read it next week. Is it good in that sense? Because you can use some of the material when you're out and about, like chatting to girls and everything.
Absolutely,
that's cool.
Troy.
That's cool.
Yes.
I would imagine Pat Stebbin probably also thinks it's good, but he probably thinks it's good from another point of view.
He doesn't read.
Pat Stebbin, he reads it when he sits down to pee on the toilet.
Let me just chime in on this love language thing, because I'm in a couple of Facebook groups because I like to just be a fly on the wall and see how these like blue pilled plugged in guys respond to everybody else's problems. So there's loads of them out there, right? You know, on the internet and Facebook, and you know, there's always this question like, you know, my wife won't sleep with me. She's always nagging me. You know, how do I make my marriage better? And then some blue pill chump chimes in and goes, well, did you find out what her love language is? And then you have to go and do like 110% of that. And then, you know, that gives them the honey to-do list so they can get the starfish sex. And it's like, if you read that book with a blue pill plugged in beta mindset as a simp, you're going to behave that way. It doesn't matter what you input into your system. You know, you're still always going to behave that way because that's where that your beliefs are going to use it. What John's talking about is quite clever, actually, because he's using it to get better results with women with game, you know, to kind of play that game with the love languages. So if you use it in that respect, yes, it can be useful. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Quick one here. Oh, sorry, Troy. I'll get to you in a sec here. Just Thomas with his $10 super chat. I was this dude 6 years ago. The blue pill is an addiction, ultimately fatal for many. The work you guys do saves lives. Pranks. Props to everybody for speaking hard truths. Props to you, Troy.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
The cover is terrible. Look at that cover. That is just like so chick flick. Isn't
look
it?
at that, like Coach Greg Adams looking cover.
The Alice
That's really terrible. But I might order. I'm going to buy it now on Kindle because I think I think John's probably right. I can imagine this is something that's really useful in the pickup phase, in the seduction phase.
You guys just need to get. You guys need to get used to saying that John is right. Like you guys, you'll come around eventually.
All right.
What about crystals? What about crystals then? Should we go on board with crystals as well?
Yes, you should get them and shove them up your ass too.
Yeah,
You should
exactly.
learn what is it? You should learn the cube, and there's a fight outside.
Hey, don't. Now we're getting into my. Don't be on the cube now, my brother.
The cube is good. The cube is good. The cube works.
You'll do better.
Cube works.
The cube works like those magic tricks. You know the magic trick where you know the card is, and then you ask the guy 2 questions, and you pull the card away, and so he eventually walks himself to his card. It's like that. It's just like it's a storytelling tool, and I think that's what John's talking about.
Yeah,
He doesn't actually care about his love languages. His love language is smash.
Listen. You use the love languages to understand what she likes and dangle the carrot, and then you teach her what you like. Therefore, she tries to use these love languages in forms of servitude to win your acceptance. That's what it's used for.
Can I just skip the middleman and go to the stuff that I like and just make her hot for me?
Yeah, you can just tell her like my love language is acts of services, so I prefer being woken up in the morning with a Hummer
Sterling
and having breakfast made and brought to me in bed.
The alarm clock is awesome. That's my love language, the alarm clock.
Sterling Cooper tweeted out, "My love language is anal sex."
There you go. There you go.
I thought that was pretty good. I'll tell you this is like when I see like I've seen these books come and go. Or do you guys remember the rules from the girls? Like the two.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that interview she had. She got ripped apart.
It seems like every, like, maybe I want to say 10 years, maybe every 8 years a book comes out. People go, did you read this book? Like The Rules was one. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That was a big deal for a while. Now it's the love languages, and it makes like Oprah's book club of the month kind of thing. And we're all supposed to sort of gather around and go, yeah, nod our heads. And it's all like, if you go and you look at the stuff that's in those books, and you like read it, it's all, I mean, maybe it's like Taco Bell, right? It's like the same ingredients. It's just like in a different burrito, or it's in a different like taco or something like that. It's the same crap that's in there. But and the same thing goes for like motivational speaking and like Napoleon Hill and Zig Ziglar. It's like the same stuff. It's the same ingredients. It's just like, updated for a new generation kind of thing. And so when I see this stuff, like I agree with John. Like from a chick crack perspective, it's probably real valuable if you know it, so that you can have that conversation and you can use chick crack as a seduction technique. Sure. Okay, great. If she knows that and you know it well enough to just sort of, work it into your routine. But as a real thing, I'm like, well, it's along the same lines as, unfortunately, what a lot of pop psychologists are doing, and it's old order thinking. It's based on old order presumptions. The guy has to keep it fresh, right? He has to do this. He has to learn her love languages. He has to keep, again, it's the carrot, or, it's you on the treadmill and you're chasing your tail all the time. Okay, I got to learn her love languages. Oh, I got to find out what she wants. Oh, I got to keep it fresh. Oh, I got to chore play, right? I got to do all the chores or else I'm not going to get laid. And they'll go into the, okay, that didn't work. What else does Dr. Phil have to say? Okay, I'll do that too, right? And you just keep going and going and going, and you don't understand that it's not you following that, it's your headspace. It's because you're still plugged in. You're still in the matrix, man. You're still thinking in blue pill terms. And here's how I'm going to bring this back to today's topic. That's what this guy is doing. Exactly. When you talk about one-itis, when you talk about soulmates, and you talk about like she's the one and all that kind of stuff, old order thinking. And where does that come from? That exact same mindset that produces things like The Rules, that produces things like love languages and MBTI and all this, Brazilian power crystals you shove up your bunghole.
It's not science, but it sounds like it's good enough.
Exactly. Well, I mean, wasn't he going to some, like you said, he was going to some psychologist, or he's seeing somebody, and it was like,
well, it's this online guy. He's called Healthy Gamer, and if you look at his thing, he's from this like not Harvard School of Medicine, but it's one of those remote things there. And you read his list, it's like, Eastern meditation, chakras, like literally all the stuff we poke fun at, and he's got a PhD or an MD in that. And then he's going telling gamers like, I'm not analyzing you. This isn't a therapy session, but we'll like do it for entertainment value. And he's telling the guy, your doctor that diagnosed you with clinical depression was probably wrong. Plug your nose and breathe deeply. I'm like, what the? Yeah. Like, how is this?
And you'll
as much as I know we had this talk about PhDs, and like, I get it. They went to school for 8 years. We're just some nerds on the internet, and it's not like I can see how they'd be mad about it. But like, at some point, the letters after your name don't make you any good at things. And I would argue he's the equivalent of like, you remember in the Victorian ages where they put borax in all the food because of evil spirits or some crap?
Yeah.
This sounds like the modern day version of that. Ooh, here, Rolo.
Yeah.
Knock this one out of the park.
Well, I'm not the only one that has a girl here.
Oh, that's right.
Is there anything that comes from equality that positively impacts your daughter's life? Absolutely, there is. I should say the policies, the legislation that comes from that mindset. Sure, if you want to, you can make a case and say, well, Title IX. Look how many girls are now in university, right? Are they being advantaged at men's or males' disadvantage? Yeah, sure. Exactly, because we still believe in that narrative of possibility of equality it's a potential. Like we can do that, but as we advantage one, we disadvantage the other. And if that's the case, then there is not that. It fundamentally conflicts with the idea of equality, right?
Well, who was it that just put that out? It was either you or Rolo or Rich or John. It was that the guy that puts out studies where it showed that this whole helping girls through college actually didn't improve them. It just hamstrung guys. Which, do you know what I'm talking about?
That wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't me.
But I will say this, Do you know who holds 2/3 of all the college debt in America?
Women.
It's women. There's your
Whamming.
there's your equality.
Your equality.
Right? You know, that's what it's all about. Again, track back to it. Oh, money, 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 money. And guess who's going to try and bail, who they want to bail them out? Some simp. But honestly, this guy offered himself. Yeah, it's a tragedy, but honestly, it's another red pill W. I mean, I know it's a tragedy. It's terrible to say, but this guy will wake people up. And at the end of the day, look, we're never gonna red pill the world. Okay, things will just get a little bit better for us. But for you guys now, you have to understand, like 20, 30 years ago, like when Rich and Roller were growing up, you know, like simping was not as prevalent as it is now. Men are weaker now. Men are pussies. More single parent households are making weaker men. So if you're watching us and you're taking action and making yourself a better man, dude, it is. I like to quote the Bible: the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. There's so much money out there, and there's so much women out there because all these guys want to sit in their safe space and have their mother breastfeed them until they're fucking dead. Guys like me, guys like Rich, all of us on the panel, dude, it's easy mode. I'm thankful for these fucking dorks for one.
Dude, I wish I had saved it. That picture of when you were in Mexico, Rich, doing lat pull downs with the girl in the thing.
Yeah,
that's like the perfect time to show that off right now.
God, that was so triggering too. I loved that. Like people are, oh, what's he trying to prove?
but this story, this tragic story of this dude, right? Who's a Twitch streamer. Okay, this is nothing new, is it? I mean, this kind of thing's been happening since the dawn of time, right? Guys getting hooked on a girl.
Van Gogh
getting knocked back by the girl, and then you know, topping themselves in the worst case scenario, or at least, you know, messing up their lives in other ways in a lesser sense. Okay, right? This has been going on for centuries, right? So I don't think that we're saying this is more pronounced. I accept what John's saying, that Twitch is perhaps an incredibly blue pill environment, and clearly they are making money off simping. That's true. But nevertheless, this is something that's been around forever, and ultimately, we're not going to red pill the world. We're not going to convert everybody. All anybody can do as a content creator or just as a guy is to put their message out there, to sort of say, well, look, this is my experience. This is how things really are, and hope that a few people take that knowledge on board. But it's never going to be the whole world, is it? This is just part and parcel of human nature.
Save them all. There will be casualties.
Triage. Actually, dude, on Dude Party, you and I were arguing. Well, not you and but Myron and I. He was I'm telling him about like the situation. He's agreeing with it, and he goes, "Yeah, but all these guys believe this," and I'm like, "Yeah, screw them." Yeah, but all these guys are failing, and we need to. And like, screw them. Like, dude, you are not your brother's keeper.
You're not.
And I know it's and it's a cheesy Matrix line, but everybody here has at least one example, and I guarantee you guys will have them, where you tried to help somebody, you had good intentions, and that covert contract where you expected a guy to take your advice and improve himself. And he just blew it up in your face, like actively sabotaged himself and punished you for good intentions. Am I right?
Yeah, that's why I always tell guys that are creating content to never work for free, right? Because these guys have no skin in the game. If they have a question for you or they want to know more, great. There's a course for that. There's one-on-one coaching options. Put your money where your mouth is and show me that you're serious about doing the work. Because if not, I ain't got. Now, you know what I do? I take all these ridiculous DMs that I get on Twitter and I just respond to them with their own stupidity back, and I post it publicly just so people can see what's going on.
Yeah, I know. It was a hard lesson for me to like sort of come to terms with that, because like I really wanted to help guys for a long time, and then and this was like long before I was published, right? I mean, I would have guys who would hit me up, and I was being Mr. Nice Guy and trying to help them out and everything else, and then I wouldn't hear from them for 6 months, or they'd be successful, right? They go, "Oh man, this is great, man, thanks for helping me out. See you later, roll bye." And then like 6 months later, they come back and they're like, "Oh, shit, I want to kill myself." Because they're not doing follow, because they're not actually, they think they've got the formula, like the magic pill or whatever that gives them, access to keys to the castle, right? And that's one of the reasons why I wrote, Dream Girls and Children with Dynamite, because you give guys just enough information to sort of be successful in a way that they are not prepared to be successful in just yet. And I think that when guys really cling to their blue pill ideals for long enough, you have to remember that's an ego investment. So when you say, dude, you know what, the way you're going about this, the way you're going to ask this girl to marry you, you're really coming on way too strong. She's just sort of, she's being nice to you because she doesn't know how to let you down. When you say that, all that is not, or if you talk about the red pill, that's an attack on them. That's an attack on their ego. It's an attack on like who they are as a person, because for a long time they built this into their personality, right? All of the stuff that they've been told from Disney and music and popular culture and everything that John was just saying right now, was a generation emotion, right? Yeah. Everything's about expressing yourself and you want to, lift her up and you want to pedestalize her and blah, 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 blah. You get these guys who never have any other experience than that, and then suddenly they read my book or they hear something, they read something, and they think you're a misogynist or they think there's something wrong with you, and you're actually trying to help. What's happening is you're not just attacking like the belief set, you're attacking them because their personality is so integral with that belief set that to say something like that is an attack on the person. And it's not just the guys who are involved, it's all the guys who are like in the periphery as well. So if you've got these guys who are online and the internet does this like very, very efficiently, particularly in online subcultures like gamer cultures, when you've got like dozens and dozens of guys who share the same belief, and then that guy is struggling, they're going to find ways to protect that blue pill mindset. They're going to find ways to ego protect themselves so they don't have to deal with the truth of what's going on. The guy is dead. The guy shot, I don't know how he killed, he hung himself, shot himself, whatever. The guy is dead. So they've got to, instead of saying, well, what I've been, coming to a point of insight where they have to like sort of recognize that the way that they think or what they're talking about or what they believe is at fault. They'll come and say, well, it's because you didn't know him, or he went to the psychologist, or he was off his meds, or whatever, any
genetic predisposition
to have that insight to think differently.
Well, Ryan, can I just ask a question? How many times have you managed to talk, or actually anybody in the panel, have you managed to talk a guy off the ledge on many occasions? And how did it? How? Because maybe for actionable advice for the viewers, right? If they or some guy that they know they're friends with is in this headspace with a girl and he's like, listen, I can't live without her, blah, blah, blah. And he can see where it's going. What does the guy do at that point? How do you help turn him around? How do you sort of snap him out of it?
That's a tough one because like I get guys who when we were at the first convention that shall be unnamed, I've had guys. Well, yeah, I had guys who actually flew out because they knew I would be there, so they could like say, "Hey, dude, I was going to kill myself, and I had a date set to kill myself, and I read the work, I got into this, and I canceled my date with death, basically, and I didn't do anything specifically. I didn't like know the guy personally or try to talk him off the edge. It's just that becoming familiar with this and being open to it and having some insight was enough to help him not want to go jump off a cliff, right? So there's that aspect of it, and then it's like I'm not a suicide prevention counselor. Yes. I can only tell you what I'm seeing. Like I tell guys, like I don't do like I'm not a coach. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not any of that. If you want me to give you my opinion or my take on what your problem is and tell you what I see, I'll be happy to do that. But don't think that I'm like a suicide coach. But I've got an essay, and it's called something that's like the safety net, right? And in that essay, in the comment sections, there's over like 1,100 comments from guys saying, because I know the red pill, because I know all this stuff, I feel like I have like sort of a safety net, right? I can go and do these things because I know I'm red pill aware. I understand women's nature. I understand my own nature and where I'm at and how I had to unplug. And it's just chock full of like responses of guys who were going to kill themselves, literally going to kill themselves as a result of being zeroed out, as a result of, being divorced, whatever it is. And they canceled their plans because of it. So yes, I know for a fact that the red pill and game saves lives.
And it's that understanding, isn't it, that helps guys. I think actually in that essay you're talking about, or another one of yours, you say something like, it's not that they're going to be happy about the knowledge, but at least when you've got the knowledge, at least when you see how things actually work, then you realize that taking your life is not a logical way forward, because actually this was just how things were set up from the beginning. So
it's a cowardly way out.
Exactly, but it's only by sharing the knowledge of the realities of how relationships work that we can hope to influence guys in a positive way.
I would say this, honestly, for one, I don't think there's anything wrong with suicide, but killing yourself over a woman is the biggest waste. Do it for a cause, do it for be like, YouTube censored me and then blow your brains out or something like that. But
did that chick do that? That one that went in there to YouTube headquarters with a gun?
I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is if you're getting to the point that you're killing yourself over a woman, I believe from an existential point of view, you should be able to check out whatever the fuck you want. But to kill yourself over a woman, that's just a waste of time, man. That guy,
ideal.
Dude, I have fuck all subscribers and I'm living a great life. If I had that much subscribers and all his clout and stuff, I would literally have a harem of women just locked in a basement, and they would all sign consent forms to be in there. It would be completely legal. That guy had the world on the silver platter, but because of his blue-pilled mindset, he squandered it, and he ended up going down a bad path and killing himself. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The only thing in his way was himself at that point. Here's your article, Rolo. I should have put it up while you were talking. I'm slow.
No, it's fine. No, don't worry about it. But yeah, I didn't even know we were going to talk about it today. But when I see guys saying, this changed my life, that even if it's not suicide, even if they're not contemplating it, they change the direction of their life because they are basically thinking differently. And I just on John's point. When guys are they think that their suicide is self-righteous. They think their suicide is idealistic. When we think about Romeo and Juliet, they loved each other so much they couldn't live without each other. That kind of ideal, that's based on it's courtly love, but it's based on the romantic ideal that has been part of Western culture for a very, very long, hundreds and hundreds of years, okay, if not thousands of years. That's the romantic ideal. And so when these guys are like, well, I would do anything for love. We write songs about it. You have all these guys. And to be honest, it's a great resource for popular songs and writing and poems and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah, sure it is, because it taps into if it's unrequited love, or if it's crazy romantic love. We're gonna write about those things. We're gonna make art about those kinds of things. But the fact of the matter is, it's still based on an ideal that will get you killed if you take it to its extreme. If you take it to the point where you want to know why the soulmate myth is still alive and well in 2020. It's because it feeds into that emotionalism. It feeds into that. I keep telling guys this is that. When I'm looking at guys who are killing themselves, guys who are in MGTOW community, black pill community, those guys, that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff is really rooted, the ideology or I want to say the despondency, the nihilism is rooted in the idea that emotion is everything. Right. One of the reasons why revenge is such a big deal is because it's rooted in that same kind of emotionalism that they've been taught as being what the trophy. The participation trophy generation, right?
Yeah.
Express yourself, be emotional. And so when you take that and you turn that the other way, instead of being lovey-dovey, be more like a girl, and and you're emotional like a guy, that's when you get stuff like this. That's when suicide seems like a good idea.
And it should be said, or I suppose, it's worth mentioning that emotionalism that you're talking about that leads to somebody taking their life is the polar opposite of the stereotypical Chad kind of alpha approach to this. Because what's the alpha going to do? What's that high school jock going to do in this situation? Well, for a start, he's probably not going to have got into that situation in the first place, because he'll have been spinning plates. He'll have had about 4 or 5 girls on the go anyway. And even if he did get into that situation, he'd just shrug his shoulders, laugh it off, and go and sleep and have sex with somebody else instead, right?
Yeah, have this one day, cereal in his bathrobe, crying, and then it's
Spin more
done.
plates, spin plates.
Yeah, exactly. So
Sure.
if you're looking at like from stereotypical alpha to stereotypical beta, it's the polar opposite of what that dude at the top of the sexual hierarchy will be doing.
Yeah, and if we want to talk about how old this is, I'll put it this way. Van Gogh cut off his ear for the love of a hooker. And Gauguin, his buddy, eventually said, screw it, I'm going to go my own way. Went off to some abandoned island in the middle of the nowhere and started doing like 14-year-olds for the rest of his life. He's like the original MGTOW, only better.
Yeah.
Although that's pretty illegal by now, but I think back then it was
Back
cool.
then it wasn't.
Yeah, it was different times. But the thing is this, look, the truth about being the red pill is like, when you live that red pill lifestyle and you're getting a lot of sex, like you don't need a lot of money or a lot of stuff. Like at the end of the day, it's awesome just to have sex with a bunch of girls. And I don't care what anybody says. That's truth. And you guys watching and listening right now, I'm right. That's why in my entire 20s, I was like really not too focused on getting rich and stuff because I was having the sex life that I wanted. Not until later, I got tired of dating and tired of dealing with all the nonsense that I was just like, now I want to get my money right, that I made it happen. But this guy, again, 31, simping hard out of over a 6 out of 10 max with her friggin', her teeth look like Lando Lake's butter. It's so, the girl's not, that girl, like I said, you don't kill yourself over that type of girl. But the guy, I'm pretty sure if he was not a millionaire, he was definitely making at least $250,000 a year.
Oh, he was talking about investing a couple million in some projects.
So there you go. So that just shows you right there that like he had everything on the world, but he still had that blue pill mindset. So you guys watching, just be grateful that you are red pilled and you're living this lifestyle because think about it, man. Like the guy, that's how plaguing the blue pill mindset is. You can have millions of dollars, you can have fame and fortune, and you'll still kill yourself. Think about that.
You're not right in the head. Quick shout out, BMF, the perfect example of the alternative. Finding and internalizing this stuff saved my life after my marriage fell apart. Thanks for what you do. Like I said, dude, we didn't do it. You did. And here's the one. Joel Castro, $2 super chat. Will the pendulum swing back or is it one way? Feminism. Dude, there is no pendulum of men not taking their life into their own hands. Like you can't say it's some law of the universe that's going to make men stop simping and start acting right. It's really up to us how far that swings one way or the other.
But the thing is this, I think what he's saying is this, and I think the pendulum is swinging. Joel's in my community. I would say this with in regards to that, Joel, I think that the pendulum is swinging backwards in context to your question, because nowadays, if you say the word feminism, it's not a word people like want to jump behind. Like they feel obligated to jump behind it. Like if you ask a CEO in front of like people, do you support feminism? And I know a bunch of CEO friends, and on the front end, they are forced to say yes, but behind the closed doors, they all hate it. They hate the Me Too movement. They hate the feminism movement. It's causing too much problem because these women, you know what these women are doing by Me Tooing everybody who comes into their existence? They're slowly isolating themselves from the corporate world. And then what's going to happen is that they're going to have to institute some kind of regulations that like force corporations to have like a quota of women hired.
Yeah,
that's going to fix everything, isn't it?
Yeah. Just like look at NASA, right? They have their diversity quota. Meanwhile, you have pot smoking Elon Musk sending stuff to the moon while tweeting out all kinds of shit posts every single day because the man is results oriented. He's not fucking diversity quota bullshit oriented. I don't care if you're black, white. I don't care if you're a one-legged chicken. If you can do the job the best, I want you with me. If you could do the job the worst, I don't want you near me. Man, woman, transgender, tricycle, whatever the hell you are.
Am I the only guy who's more impressed that Elon Musk is playing Minecraft like the home version than going into space? Look at that giant. He's building.
I was going to say, I agree with you. I don't think there is such a thing as a pendulum. And the reason I think that is because that's old order thinking. Once again, when we start thinking about like, oh, can we get back to this golden age where men were men and women were women and we all lived
was your job most likely
like, in this make-believe land that I think existed back in the 50s or the Victorian era? No, you're not. There's only one way, and that's forward. What are you going to do in the future? How are you going to make a better future? Are you going to, how do we change this? Is there going to be a pendulum, like the pendulum naturally swings back? No, it doesn't. Shit changes and you change with it. And if you know what you're doing, then you change it for the better for yourself. for.
You could have 16 kids and go and move onto the farm in Montana and set up your own community with a bunch of guys in plaid shirts and long hair.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll still take Rich's method. I'm gonna suntan everything but my asshole.
Yes. Suntan your bald head. It's healthier for you.
Dude, I'm looking at you. You're darker than me right now. Like, holy crap.
Bro, I'm out in the sun as much as possible. I want to get my free vitamin D. I know my DNA is Mediterranean, so I like it. It's good for me in the summer, so it's it's what I do.
Yeah,
I wanted to
defend yourself against COVID too with the vitamin D, didn't you?
Yeah. I just wanted to chime in on this whole blue pill beta mindset because it's really about belief system, and I've done videos about belief system before, and it's like, you have results at the top, choices which get you the results, and your choices are made based on your beliefs. So if your belief are, just be nice to her or just be a nice guy and you'll get the girls, you're going to make choices that are going to, work with those beliefs, and then the results that you get will suck, as a result of that. And it's like the simplest formula to improving the set of results that you get in your life is just have a better belief system that serves you, right? If you're not getting great results with the girls, then figure out who gets good results with the girls, and then update your belief system to what they're preaching. It's as simple as that, right? But it's harder to execute because everybody, is addicted to the blue pill Kool-Aid. They're addicted to the lies. Comforting lies sell. Marketers sell comforting lies 24/7 to everybody in every arena. We're not just talking about the sexual marketplace and with women, with politics, with diet and exercise, with choices in cars. All that crap is basically marketed as comforting lies. Sign up for this new Toyota Camry for 184 months worth of payments, and you too can own the TRD Sport model for only $199 bi-weekly and keep up with the Joneses. Shut up, right? Grow up and update your beliefs so you can see the reality of what the marketers are telling you, what society tells you, what societal programming tells you, what Hollywood's been lying to you about, all this crap in music that tells you to pine for the one. That doesn't work, obviously.
Rich, I love that you are so high up on the car echelon that you can't even name a Toyota. A Camry?
Camry. I don't know. I saw the ad for it the other day on. Yeah.
Camry, Civic, they're all in the same goddamn tax bracket.
Piece of shit. That boring ass piece of shit. Man, I got one of those, as a loaner the other day, and I almost slipped into a coma and died driving. I was so bored driving it.
It smelled nice inside, I bet.
Yeah,
all fruity.
So let's get back to this one. So we're obviously, the other problem with it is everybody's trying to monetize off his death. And to some extent we are too, but I like to think we're trying to prevent it from happening to other people, like genuinely so. In fact, Rolo, I would argue that that's the reason that you're no longer working at a certain convention in Central Florida anymore.
Well, I was just going to mention that, right? Because one of the other problems that we've got here is that a large proportion of the kind of community or the kind of space that we are tangentially connected with are very much pushing blue pill thinking, or they're very much pushing. Just take it to the dance, just be nice to her, blah blah blah.
And how's that going for all of those idiots? Let's see. The Family Alpha, game over. Red Man Group, 4 live stream viewers with DDJ as one of these people. How's that going? Look, like I said, I told everybody, you want to talk about red pills? I said this at the beginning. Watch this inbred retard destroy a lucrative business. Watch him destroy
it faster than you destroy my monetization for this video. I swear to God.
You're on Patreon. You're okay.
I think Troy is correct. If there's one thing that gets me worked up more than anything else, is it's purple pill hacks.
Yes.
Yeah. As you probably already know. And there's also, as far as I'm concerned, whoever this kid was seeing as like his psychologist telling him to take rosemary and herbal light or whatever the fuck he was doing, to bake his ring or whatever, and suddenly he'll be okay. Like when I see the main problem I have with most purple pill guys is they get just enough the red pill to say like, oh yeah, I've read the Rational Mail, it's good, but there's some other thing, like they're trying to sort of have half measures. It's always like, well, yeah, what they say is right about this, but you can still have the one. And I've literally heard certain people say, yeah, you the soulmate's real. You can still get it. You can just use this red pill stuff to go get your soulmate. That'll work for you, right? How did that work for a guy like Mystery, right? The guy's been suicidal for God knows how long because he was a child with dynamite. He had the keys to the Lamborghini, but he didn't know how to drive the Lamborghini. He knew how to get girls. He didn't know how to live with girls. He didn't know understand women's nature, but he was still very much locked in to that blue pill idealism. And that's the problem is you get purple pill hacks who are life coaches and they decide that, well, what these guys want is they want to be able to get the girl. So I'm going to use this red pill stuff and put it as one of my tags on my profile or whatever. But I'm going to still sell them the idealism that actually makes a lot of money because they still want to believe that they can go get their one or they can go live this idyllic lifestyle based on
pandering that Rich was just
pandering
talking about. Like, that's how a lot of companies make money.
And it's I mean, literally, it is life endangering dangerous.
That's why I hate how they call coaches too. You notice that, Rollo?
Mhm.
Like they're not accountable. They couldn't be accountable even if they wanted to. So when you call yourself a coach, you're promising what you can't deliver. And if anybody here has done any consulting, you know, rule number one is promise as little as possible and never promise anything you can't actually deliver on because nothing will take you faster than that.
Well,
but the online space just hasn't figured that out yet.
Soulmate. If you guys want your soulmate, you have to take the puppy pill. This is your soulmate. This is the closest thing you're going to get to a soulmate. And if you guys, listen, I think I was talking to Rich about this, but like, you guys need to stop basing so much of your identity in validation through love and emotions in women. That is like rainbow mafia people talk. Like, that's what those people worry about. Get on your purpose, make money, make muscles, learn game so you don't off yourself or get dragged to divorce court. It's simple. It's not very easy, but it's simple. And if you want to have the best possible life you can have, you need to focus on those three things every single day until you die. Period.
Focus less on how you feel. The feelings are really what cause a lot of these problems. That's the testosterone thing. Rich, you've talked about this. Like, once your testosterone goes up, it physically mutes your empathic brain functions. So it makes you
way
feel
weaker
better.
today. They're way weaker today, man. It's a big problem.
Yeah. Oh, and this guy, I do like this one though. 58, Metro DC, spinning educated corporate plates, but their therapists keep breaking them.
I love it.
And that's DC, though, isn't that where Pickup went to die? That's
and
like
that's
the home of Jack Murphy
and that's the thing. Listen, that's the thing. Going back on what I said initially, that therapist is like, listen here, Jenny, I know you're $150,000 in debt from your gender studies degree, but you deserve a 6'4" Chad who has $1 million and he should pay off all your debt and you should come home to a cooked meal and HR doesn't realize your greatness. You should be the CEO. They're filling their heads with delusional lies. And I, for one, love watching these women self-destruct. It's a hobby of mine. It really is.
Yeah, so I kind of got more pity on it, but at the same time, I'm like you. I'm like, a dog got rabies. You got to put it down, whatever. But that's the thing too. If they actually told time what she needed to say, she'd never go back for a second visit. So it's almost like they want, like people want to be lied to, and that's the hardest part.
I was just gonna say that because I feel really bad about like sort of shitting on like clinical psychologists or psychology in general, but I'll think a lot of like sort of therapists, like therapy style psychology, is still rooted in old order thinking.
Yes.
It's still rooted in like 1980s, 1990s psychotherapy stuff. Like, oh, if we do it like Dr. Phil said, or if we do these certain things, then we're going to get these results. And one of the reasons why I think the red pill is so threatening to clinical psychology is because we now have access, like smart guys have access to like to statistics and the red pill. And I thought it was really encouraging when I had guys like who come up to me and said, yeah, I have a psychologist, but he recommended your book, and that brought up a whole new thing of conversation. And I don't know if there's any psychologists that are still using it, but I think one of the things is that once we got past like say 2005, maybe 2010, and people had access to like WebMD or they're trying to diagnose themselves. They're probably like doctors, like, you know, real doctors who are like, you know, physicians. They hate that stuff because, well, I read online that I might have this disease, doctor. What do you think? And they're just like, oh, Jesus, you know, please don't. But that's like indicative of the problem, or certainly the change or the shift. Like, people have access to the same information that a guy who spent 8 years in, you know, university to get his master's or his doctor or whatever, so that he could have his private practice. And so, yeah, it behooves those people, it behooves like clinical psychologists to still stick with what they think should work, you know, popular thinking, popular culture wise, as opposed to what we know now for pushing us along, thinking about like, well, maybe we were wrong about that. Let's try something else. They don't want to do that. And the problem now is that the barrier to entry to be a coach, to be a life coach, to be whatever is so low. And people like, well, this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And this psychologist still sounds like he's stuck in the Oprah, Dr. Phil era. And so, yeah, naturally, and they don't have any counter to it. They don't have any way to sort of say, well, you know, here's what I think, or here's what I say. They can only go by anecdotal evidence rather than like what the actual data sets are at this point.
But it's soft science too. You can't even say it's authoritative. And I'll quickly do Amos's thing here. Probably been said already, but how come the topic wasn't red, white, and blue pills? Well, I'm Canadian. Rich is Canadian. John's in Tokyo. Troy's in London. I guess Rollo, you could be. He's the American we have on the council.
I'm the American that's on the council here
Other
today.
countries have their own days.
Hey,
We don't.
I am American. As long as I'm paying goddamn taxes in Japan, my country, I'm American. All right.
Let me just chime in here for a minute
That's
too.
forever.
Let me just chime in here for a minute, guys, to Rollo's point, because he was talking strongly about you know, doctors and clinical psychologists, and to see a very good example of this. Me, Rollo, and Dr. Sean T. Smith did a broadcast on my Before the Trainwreck series about 2 months ago, shortly before he left the series, because the episode before I was on with Dr. Robert Glover and Dr. Sean T. Smith, and one of the things that came up was both of them said, you know, I don't really see this hypergamy in my practice and my day-to-day job. And I was like, what, really? And that brought on the follow-up, to which Dr. Glover did not show up to, but Dr. Sean T. Smith did. And he, like, pretty much for the entire broadcast, up until about 3/4 of the way through, we were describing something. And I said to him, but Sean, isn't that the very definition of hypergamy? And he was like, well, yeah, I guess it is. They're like, I don't think that they're licensed, that even their paycheck relies on them seeing outside of that box. And it's just the reality of it. I mean, they offer some good services. Like, both of those guys are great people and they've wrote great books. But I mean, when it comes to like the reality of applying this to lifestyle, dorks like us without a piece of paper on the wall framed in mahogany figured it out faster.
Yeah, because we have access to it now. Like I said, the barrier to access is over. Do you know what the hell's that show that's on? Is it on Netflix or maybe it's on Showtime, where they like get the couples in there and there's like it's a show, but I don't want to say it's a documentary, but it's kind of like a show, and they have like the one couples counselor, like this chick who's like I don't know if she's divorced or she's single or whatever, but she's supposed to be the marriage counselor, and she's like counseling like heterosexual couples and lesbian couples, and I can't remember the name of it, but I saw the previews for that. I think I might have sat through one of them just to see what it was about. But I think what really kind of what I don't say triggered me, but the thing that I was left with, I guess, was that even in 2020, or maybe what was it, 2019, 2018, when I saw it, even in this century, we're still clinging to what we think should work psychologically with couples counseling or marriage counseling or personal counseling or all this other kind of stuff. We're still clinging to ideas that have been popularized in popular culture that says, well, if you follow these, if you get a psychologist that tells you this, well, then you're on the path to recovery, or you're on the path to like you're coming back together, and you negotiating desire. That always works. And all this, all this kind of old school stuff that I think, from a popular culture, like what we think is sort of the fabric of our society, that, well, if somebody tells you that, it's got, you got to keep it fresh, you got to be open communication and all this other stuff that has been around at least since like the late 70s. And it's been so popularized that even now in a show that's in 2018, when we hear that, we go, yeah, that sounds like that should work. Yeah, but we don't know. We don't understand that we have so much more information since 1990 or whenever this was popularized, that we have to push along. We have to progress. We have to keep going. That's old order thinking. Can we please have a clinical psychologist somewhere, some way that is basing their practice on current information, current data sets, current things that are going on right now?
Well, that's the problem with the accreditation board is that they have
popular.
I think a lot of people in this field. I think a lot of people in this field, both in this space and also probably in the sort of clinical or the psychological space, let's say, tend to, broadly speaking, say what sounds good, or what they think they should say. So you get the purple pill coaches in this space who kind of say stuff that sounds right, and they know they're going to get likes from,
easy to go and read those books, right?
They're going to get mainstream likes. They're going to get likes from women online and all this kind of thing. And I think in a sense, a lot of what you get from counselors and people like that is the same sort of thing. You say something like, yeah, well, it's all about communication. You've just got to... Right. You've got to be vulnerable. You've got to take her feelings into account. All of these different things, and it kind of sounds good, and it's not controversial. It's sort of broad stuff that broadly most of society is going to agree on, and so people just toe that line. I think that's the thing. I think people are unwilling to, to face the less pretty truths, let's say, and also, frankly, it's probably commercially not very good either because, like Rich always says, that stuff, it just doesn't sell as well. It doesn't sell as well to say this is the brutal hard truth. It's much easier to sort of come out with a load of psychobabble that is kind of broadly in line with what most people expect you to say.
Yeah, and I wish I could say it was people being evil, because at least evil people, you just have to change the incentives. I don't think it's that these people are malicious. A lot of the same, like Dr. Glover's done great work, Jeff Smith, great work, but when your paycheck is based on like a certain type of outcome and you want to have a certain risk averse attitude towards this as like mental health, it behooves you and you do better if you kind of believe it yourself. So same way, like have you ever watched a girl who starts to accuse a guy of something like, oh, you cheated on me? It's like, no, he assaulted me. And then you watch them kind of whip their brain into a fervor, roll that hamster wheel to start trying to believe their own lie they're telling. It's that same thing. So it's
are you confirming that Dr. Baby is not evil then?
Way too incompetent to be evil. Evil people can get a wife and a husband.
Me and Ryan have talked about this on my show. I think we've talked about this a few times where it's
you get so perked up when we start shit talking her.
Well, and here was the question: do these people actually believe in it? Or is it just a grift for these guys?
Yeah, you've sold me on it.
I always said they actually both really they believe in it and it's their grift, and because they believe in it, it's like this self-perpetuating, self-profit, model, I guess, or whatever it is. Hey, I wanted to, this guy, Brown Dude says, have you checked out Sam Vankin's video where he was talking about MGTOW? Yeah, this guy, I think Sam Vankin is a clinical psychologist, and he was trying to psychoanalyze like what he thought was like MGTOW was really all about. And it's just these bitter, horrible, using a lot of old school, old order thinking with respect to like psychology. So it's like, if you see this, that must be what it is because I read it in my manual or whatever. Never do, and it's not just Sam. There's a couple of other guys that sort of have come out against like sort of the red pill, saying, well, these are just bitter men, and they have they're antisocial or they have some sort of psychological problems and stuff. And every time they psychoanalyze what they think is the red pill or they think is MGTOW or whatever, it's always
our detractors
on things that sounds truthy. It sounds truthy by old order, like 1990s psychology speak. And they never really get into the details because they don't understand it. They know, they feel like they have to address it, but they never do any homework. They never really understand what the arguments are. They never understand where these guys are. And they're not incentivized to understand, because if they do, it's a threat to their economic base, their revenue stream, if they do something like that.
And they always deny the grievances. That's the part that gets me. Like, I kind of agree for the most part. Most MGTOW guys have psychological, like all that stuff he's suggesting. But
Yeah.
you can't separate that from they actually have real grievances and there's real issues that came up, like the abandonment issues that usually come from childhood, single family homes, that sort of thing. They're not able to find a love life. That's like wondering, this guy hasn't eaten in 3 weeks. Why is he trying to steal food? Like, there's probably a reason that doesn't have to do with mental health. Same thing for love.
Do you guys know any, Rich, do you know of any, I'll even use a low number. Do you know any MGTOW that makes $250,000 a year?
No, I asked once on social media. I said, "Can you name one MGTOW that is putting a dent in the universe and world class at what they're doing?" And I got responses like, Turtling Monkey, Coach Greg Adams. You know, it's like, okay, these are all losers. Can we come up with somebody that's actually doing something productive and putting a dent in the universe? Right? Sandman. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay,
yeah.
Sandman, get your consultation, $30 an hour. I'm sure that's going to be solid.
Where you'll get like, oh, well, the Wright brothers, they invented flying.
Hey guys, it's Sandman again.
I got to see this guy because I'm laughing my ass off, and I don't want to be uncharitable, but I think he deserves it. I don't know.
York in his voice. The thing is this too, right? Look, like when you're a filthy dog like me and Troy, and all you do is live to fucking ejaculate, right? You're not like, you don't sit there just like, I feel like I should get my degree in psychology. You're like, no, you're like, I wonder what the girl at Starbucks, I wonder what her tits look like, and if she sucks or swallows. You know what I mean? You have this gift of red pill knowledge that transfers into womanizing. You don't sit around like, how can I contribute to the greater good of society? You're like, how can I have sex with 5 girls this week and still be able to like get some more next week?
That's screw the greater good.
And the thing is this, right? Well, so when you have these guys going into psychology and trying to do all these studies, there's like the studies, the observer effect in itself affects the outcome of the study. The way of doing these studies, this is archaic. This is an old world way of proving things. It still has its place in society today, but these more advanced issues like real like social dynamics and sexual interaction between men and women, like it is very, very hard to pinpoint this stuff and really objectively quantify it in a way that's verifiable.
Oh, dude, the RSD, I hate those videos. He sits there for an hour talking and says nothing. It's a whole lot of nothing.
It's not even an hour. Some of those videos, you're talking like 2-3 hours. I mean,
dude, I'm terrified. Somebody in the chat's going to be like, you guys talked for 2 hours. You didn't say anything. I have problems sleeping at night having that nightmare.
Every time I see Owen
with the RSD stuff, Ryan, because I know you edit your videos, Ryan. Okay. Yeah. RSD, he said this the other day. He's like, I have a 2-hour video, and each video I upload takes 100 hours to edit. I was like, this motherfucker just sits here and lies to his camera.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Hours to edit a video, or you don't even have 100 hours to maintain anything, let alone the loss of hair or your fucking fat body. You're going to tell me you sit around and try to edit a video for 100 hours? Get out of here.
My longest video was 15 hours from turning on the camera to hitting upload. That's ridiculous.
Whenever I see his videos now, it's like watching Mugatu from happy Prime Minister. Oh my God.
Oh, what happened to Tyler Durden? Dear God.
Yeah.
I still laugh when he and was it Mystery or Style and him that were having that out?
They had such good stuff too, and they took it all down.
Yeah, that's everybody has though. Like you're the only one who still had your stuff up after that time. Roos, like no more game on his forums, no talking about that. And now everything will eventually turn you gay.
Roosh has turned into Bhagwan Rajneesh. Go look that guy up.
Just so you guys know, anal sex makes you gay. Sex with women makes you gay. Everything makes you gay. I'm like, you fire and brimstone motherfucker.
Cardi B. I'm like, yeah. At least we have the humor. At least we.
I just like coming on the show for the jokes.
Did you see Roosh's recent article saying that he wishes that he'd never lost his virginity?
Yeah, dude. I saw the title. I just closed it. I'm like, not today.
I did. I don't want to say I did a show about that. I actually talked about that a little bit on like talking about like how guys need sex. And I made a quick reference to his virginity post. And it's funny to me how I think a lot of guys do this, particularly with blue pill ideals. Once they get to a point where they know that they realize maybe in some way they self-acknowledge that they're low SMV, and they're probably like they get in that scarcity mentality. Once they get into that, if you take that to the next step, it's usually like, well, I know I'm never going to get laid, so I've got to turn my necessity into a virtue. And now this is
time to grow a beard, buy the flannel, get me an axe and a Spartan helmet. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Build me a cabin. That'll get them.
They turn it into self-righteous blue pill stuff. Like, well, I'm at least I'm not having that meaningless sex that you guys. Okay.
Sex is never meaningless. I always meant to do what I did.
Bang everyone.
I always think meaningless sex is the best kind of sex, really.
It's meaningless only meaningless if you don't come as a guy. Then I'm just like, why am I here?
Meaningless, shallow sex is the best kind of sex.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shallow and meaningful are all by order of degree.
Yeah. So subjective. Whatever. If that's the thing, like, I don't mind the coping strategy. I get it. If things suck, you obviously want to make yourself feel noble. I understand it. I relate to it. Just stop branding it. You know what I mean?
Makes their necessity their virtue.
Like, hey, my life sucks, but if you pay me $10 a month, I will let your life suck less than mine, and it makes you feel better. Like, Jerry Springer cornered that market. Don't even try. Don't even try.
Did Reef shave his beard? I don't think he shaved. He said he cut his hair.
Why would he shave his beard? There's nothing but sadness underneath there. Sadness and like the middle-aged jowls are starting to make an appearance. I guarantee it.
Yes, I know. Face and LMS want to debate me. Thank you very much. Okay.
Who is this guy? I know I missed the one where you guys had him on. Who is
Didn't
he?
John already destroy that loser?
I don't.
You guys listen. We have like as you guys. We got to catch the audience up, Rollo. Okay. Rollo is the godfather of the red pill, and I am the godfather of the black pill. I own every single one of these dorks in that black pill sphere. They're all signed, sealed, and delivered. My property. I'm trying to rehab these dorks one by one. I'm watching them watch me and make adjustments to their content because they look up to me. They're envious of me. Look at my perfect Adonis body. You can see it. It comes through my shirt, right? I mean, they're just dorks, dude. And like, look, there's a certain subsect of guys that dwell on the internet nonstop because they're losers and society has rejected them. That's what the majority of black pill guys are.
Well, I'll tell you this is like, I'll tell you the same thing that I told Pat Stedman when, 4 years ago, when he's like, he won't debate me. I'm like, okay.
That crap. Yeah.
What do you want if you're going to have a debate? Here, let me explain logic for you. If you're going to have a debate, there should be a topic for the damn debate. Okay.
The topic, Rollo, I'll tell you right now, it's Hillary Clinton, lizard person or Illuminati. Go.
Yeah. The debate is
the cabal. She's part of the cabal.
Yeah. What wine pairs best with ice?
Tell me what the subject is. Tell me, like, if you're going to have a debate, if you want to have a talk and a conversation, call it that. No, I don't want to have that conversation because we're probably going to have a very boring 6-hour live stream on Face and LMS. I don't have that kind of time. So
yeah, I just saw the channel. Yeah, it's that standard like PowerPoint presentation, video game B-reel footage stuff. Whatever, content good, content bad. It's just so lazy. I'm like, bro, people are filming stuff from their phones that are putting in more effort. Like, come on.
Well,
take it seriously. Put some effort in.
Face and LMS are picking up on the turtling monkey profit model, I think, because turtling.
At least he drew a damn monkey with a cigar. That's all I'm saying.
Every Saturday night, TFM would do like a 4.5-hour live stream, and it seems like LMS is like, well, we can do better than that. Let's go for 6.
Let them eat each other alive. I love it.
How long can you talk about that,
dude? Like a no-fap live stream. Imagine that. It will go until I finally have to go sort it out.
Well, I mean,
see if those last like 3 weeks.
There's 2 prerequisites to debate anybody. 1, I want to see your face, and 2, have a topic.
Yeah,
it's pretty fair.
Yeah,
because who was that one guy? Remember the DDJ guy, that stupid incel that was doxing people, whatever. The guy that hated him, that wolf character. He actually is like, you know what? I'm not the best looking guy, but screw it. Put his face out there. He's like, yeah, this guy's trash. And I'm not afraid to tell you publicly. And I was like, good on him, man. I still don't agree with the MGTOW stuff, but good on the kid. Took some balls.
Agreed.
Here's this guy, Link Zelda. I can't help but think that's an Anthony Johnson snipe. Even though I'm not married, reading Saving a Low-Sex Marriage, A Man Guides to Dread, Seduction in the Long Game showed me how frame and dread game adds to polarity is necessary in an LTR. Anybody else read it? Yeah, dude, we know the authors. Blue Pill Professor, he and I were working on the subreddit together. And I know, Rollo, you've read The Man's Guide to Dread, Seduction in the Long Game.
Yeah.
But that's just like anxiety is like a long-term thing. You kind of need that.
You know what's funny is like when people use terms like dread, and I especially in today's day and age, it's like I go back to like 2006 when I was listening or reading about dread in forums like Alt Fast Seduction or on SoSwap or something. I'm like, do they even know where this all came from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't even know about Royce having that like dread in his first year stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like Amos's take here. Shallow sex is like a shallow pool. You get wet and cool off without the risk of drowning. I like that. I don't know how, but that's like that somehow is a metaphor for the topic of the show there. Poor Byron. All right. Anyway, so I guess actually no, we still got time. Guys, we're gonna end this on the half hour, but until then, we got 10 more minutes. Give us something else, because otherwise we're going to crack more jokes at how lame Stedman is and laughing at the Red Man group and their 4 upvotes.
There's 10 minutes more material there, isn't there? Let's face it.
I did want to add one more thing here, is that I think that when you look at like psychologists sort of like not agreeing, but like not wanting to sort of conflict with the red pill, I think really the conflict that they're dealing with is not so much the red pill as it is like the purple pill. Because you'll get guys who are life coaches or purple pill hacks or whatever it is, who are still trying to sell these guys on sweet sunshine, you know, like on the soulmate myth or whatever else. Like you can have all this, you can have all that great blue pill stuff, but you know, you can use the red pill to get that blue pill stuff rather than fundamentally changing their minds, like fundamentally unplugging them from the blue pill, because it's those blue pill ideals are based on falsehoods. They're based on old order data. They're based on old ways of thinking. Like when I talk about like Dr. Phil and Oprah and all that other great, all the stuff that should work, all the things that you should want as a goal, all the things that popular culture and your blue pill conditioning has sort of embedded into you from the time you were like 5 years old, all of that is 20th century like nonsense. We're 20 years into the 21st century. You know, we're here. Okay. So like, let's start thinking about things from like a new perspective. And the first way you do that is unplug yourself from your old ways of thinking. You want to know why guys kill themselves? It's because they're still stuck in that blue pill conditioning. And they think that stuff should be possible. That romantic ideal. Oh, I'm going to get on my knee and pledge my love to my lady, that kind of stuff. All of that is still that thinking that you have to, like Rich was saying before, it's the idea. I don't want to say ideology, but it's certainly your conditioning. And when we talk about, like we've said this before, one of the reasons we call it the red pill or the blue pill is because that matrix, like with the matrix that you're being unplugged from, that's the old blue pill conditioning that you believe those things should be true. And people make money off of that. They'll keep you stuck in that because that's what you think is possible. Once you unplug yourself from that blue pill conditioning, then you're working with a new tool set. Then you're working with it, and it's hard. It's really, really hard to be red pill aware because it means that you have to abandon that blue pill way of thinking about it. And that's why guys get depressed. That's why they have to go across what I say, you have to go across the abyss. They get despondent, they get nihilistic, and primarily it's because they had to give up on the old way of thinking. Now, nowadays, like I would hope you would use, red pill tools to improve your life and to be a better you, be the best version of yourself, right? All that stuff, use that and see it for the opportunity that it is. Most guys today, this generation, it seems, they would rather stay and wallow in that nihilism. They either go into denial and stay stuck in their blue pill ways, or else they go into despondency and they go into nihilism. And so when I've talked about this in the past, like there's the stages of like grief, like when the 5 stages of unplugging are basically the 5 stages of grief or dealing with death. The reason why I made that comparison, that parallel back in the day, is because you're literally killing off your old beta self. The old identity that the blue pill made for you is dead. And you have to find some way to live in a new paradigm, in a new way of living. And so therefore you're mourning the death of the old you. Although, like I say this all the time, it's this euphemism I use, which is kill the beta before it kills you. You're literally killing off that old personality that was developed because you've been stuck in your blue pill conditioning for so long. So why wouldn't you mourn that? You go, well, I really wanted that. Yeah, well, that's impossible because it's based on bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Tools, make something of yourself. Don't get stuck and go, oh, I'm never going to be a success. No. Use those tools to make yourself a success, however you set that up, because now you're working in with real data, with accurate ways of like understanding like life and women and, you know, whatever, you know.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll end it on this. Now, we've had a lot of fun. We've laughed, we've cried, we've poked fun at artards.
We kissed $10 goodbye.
Yeah, kiss $10 goodbye. Thank you, Carlo Pace, for the $13 super chat. I heard a female relationship coach say European women are more sexual than North American women. People say a lot of things. It's whatever. But I want to take this moment. Yeah, Byron Bernstein, he did die. He did commit suicide. So let's treat it with some reverence. We're hoping to learn something from it. It's a very tragic event. And don't take this levity as if we're diminishing that. We're one of the few people in this space who actually kind of are bothered when guys are doing this stuff. We don't care about the simping. It's guys have got to fix themselves. I don't know how else to put it. So like a moment of silence, but all right. I don't know how to do those. So whatever, it's going to be awkward as hell. But Rich, we're going to start in the corner here.
It's an American thing.
Okay, good. Get us started. What do we got? What do we got to look forward to from entrepreneurs in cars?
Yeah, just loads of videos I got to edit and put out in the pipeline from requests and other topics. I got to go before the train wreck Monday, obviously, and I got playing to win with the official Chad Thundercock from my community. This guy is quite the story. So if you liked Myron Gaines the other day, wait till you hear that one. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, just Entrepreneurs in Cars. Also down over there. Get on my email list. See you guys later.
Nice. Links in the description for this one. Johnny.
I'm on vacation. I'm not doing anything unless you're in body language mastery. So subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Fair enough. If you guys haven't, you should have been. Troy.
Videos coming up next week on my YouTube channel. So subscribe to that. Troy Francis. And what else? Renegade Dating Domination. It's my new collection of essays from the last 5 years. Is available now. You'll find the links when you go to my YouTube. So I'll see you there.
All right, Rolo.
Cool. I will be on tomorrow. Same Rolo time, same Rolo channel at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern. I don't have a topic just yet. I might actually answer some emails finally. I've been meaning to do a show about that. Still working on book 4. I'm hoping to have it done and out to published by middle of this month. Certainly get it back to third round, 4 rounds of edits by middle of this month. So we should be good to go. And today is the 4th of July. So I'm going to go do American things and like raise hell.
Well, it's good that you guys haven't outlawed that yet anyway.
Yeah, not yet.
All right, for my part, my author's copies finally came in. Fuck files. It's awesome. Get to send a copy to my mom and my brother now, so it's going to be sweet. I'm on my side tomorrow, 11 Eastern. I just finished No More Mr. Nice Guys breakdown, Dr. Glover stuff. I'm starting with Manuel Smith's When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. I feel out of all the red pill things guys can learn, this is some of the fundamental stuff that most new guys haven't even been aware of exists. So it'll be good. It'll be on at 11 o'clock. And I think, Rolo, so you said 1. So there'll be plenty of time to do this, have lunch, then catch his. And on that note, from us and the whole panel, stay safe. And guys, if you need mental health, go get it. Just not from that idiot telling you to breathe through your nose, all right?